Hello, hello, everybody. It's JJ Conway. I'm super excited to be here with you today. As you can tell, I am not in my home studio. If the sound's a little wonky, that's probably why. We're in our fabulous Airbnb that we had our wonderful ladies retreat today in College Station. If you did not attend this retreat this morning and you are somebody who loves the Lord or is called to the ministry, you missed a phenomenal, uplifting, and encouraging time. But today, what I'm going to talk to you about is something very, very, very important to many of us, and that is how to earn your first $1,000 with virtual summits. And so one of the reasons that this is so personal to me is because we have to be able to create our own pathways out of poverty or out from one level to the next. And I remember what one of my early business mentors said to me: if you can't find a stage to speak on, create your own stage. And so back in that day, that was how Building Wealth Together got started. I created that stage simply so that I could get on stage and be the keynote for that conference. And so as it's grown, we've expanded with virtual, and then the pandemic hit, and I was really glad I had that experience being virtual. But one thing I found out when it comes to virtual, and that is everybody and their brother wants to capitalize on your desire to take things virtual and make money being virtual. So we're going to talk about some good tips on how to make it work, and we're going to talk about what to watch out for and scams with those who are making money teaching you how to do a virtual summit, but not teaching you how to actually achieve your goals. Okay, so first of all, I just want to say hi to everybody who's on today. I'm so excited that y'all are here, and I'm just very excited about this class. This is the first time I've taught this class, okay? It was by popular demand. When we did our poll for 2023 classes, this was one of the highest demanded ones, and I really resisted creating new content for this year. As y'all know, I have a lot going on, and we're gonna roll into football season, and the last thing I wanna do is be on the hook for new content. But I'm here to help you dump debt, build wealth, and prosper. So if that's what you need in your life, then I wanna help you. Oh, you know what? I'm posting the link. We are not on the free conference call today. I was not able to get that set up for today. So let me adjust my how to ask a question daily. Hold on just a second. There we go. Let's do that. Nope, that one says text, and you're not going to text me today because I'm not going to see it. You are going to text me today. You know why you're going to text me today? Because you're going to learn no more, and I'm going to give you my text number. Well, man, I just built a thing, and I don't see it. Okay, well, if you have a question, guess what you're going to have to do today? You're going to have to drop it in the comments. Okay, you're going to have to drop it in your comments or use the form at Ask JJC, which is what I thought I had on here, and I don't see it. And I'm not going to edit one of the good ones for future to do that. But what we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about creating your own virtual summits that are profitable and achieve your goals. Okay, so let me go ahead and pull that slide back up. First, we're going to talk a little bit. Wait, I want to be able to see this. All right, first we're going to talk a little bit about what building wealth together is. We're going to talk about warning. We're going to talk about your goals, and that missing line there is going to be actually talking about achieving the goals. Then I'm going to give you some application and next steps. And one of the things that I always like to highlight is just with building wealth together, we're different from other wealth building groups because we are not a get rich quick group. I could make a lot more money and have a lot bigger group if I dangled private jets in front of you and hot sports cars in front of you. But although those things will come with building wealth, they could come with building wealth. We're not about get rich quick. We're about get rich right. We're about changing our mindset and taking the efforts that are needed to take and to stop wasting our energy in ways that are hindering us from achieving our goals, and to stop wasting our energy sometimes working so hard in areas that are going to never get us where we want to go. So there are a lot of legit ways to build wealth, but we believe in education, ethics, and accountability. And we do this to help you through financial investment and entrepreneurial education. I like to think that we are solutions, not a sales pitch. Now, if you remember my Building Wealth Together group, you will notice that this class was supposed to be taught next week. And that next week, today, we were supposed to teach a class on self-directed IRAs. Well, every third Thursday is our real estate Thursday. And because our third Thursday this month is the Juneteenth Legacy event that I'm hosting in Chicago, I was going to not teach that, but because real estate is so pivotal to the concepts and the strategies of that conference, we're going to actually do a live podcast recording right there on site in Chicago. So we'll be talking about self-directed IRAs and other strategies to build wealth quickly in your retirement program, your retirement plan. Next month, we're going to be talking about, for our second Tuesday class, how to make your first $1,000 as an affiliate. Now, some of you might be new today and you might not know what I mean by these classes. And so let me just kind of explain that real quick. Every first Thursday is a Ask Me Anything fireside chat. Ask me any question. Technically, honestly, y'all, technically after the lesson is done, you can still ask me anything every Thursday night. But every first Thursday is straight Q&A. Every second Thursday is our seven-figure business building, where we look at ways to create multiple streams of passive income. And then every third Thursday is real estate investing. And then every fourth Thursday is our empowered entrepreneur. How do you become the person you need to be to achieve the dreams and the goals that you have? I love, love, love it. And I really do appreciate, Monique, I appreciate you inviting all these folks to come on and see about what we're talking about today, because this is life-changing content. You know, sometimes we have health challenges, we have family challenges, we have toxic work situations that make it difficult for us to be able to do a side hustle during the day. So we need to look at other alternatives. You know, I had a colleague who suffered really bad from fibromyalgia, and she had a t-shirt business. And one of the reasons she had a t-shirt business is because she could work it on the days when she was having a good day. And when she wasn't having a good day, she could shut down the order form and make sure that nothing new came in. And so it's very important to understand that there's always a way. I know sometimes it feels like you can't get anywhere. I know sometimes it feels like the deck is stacked against you. I know sometimes you feel like you're taking one step forward and two steps back. But I promise you, I promise you, I promise you, there is always a way. And so when we bring all these different multiple streams of income to you, surely one of them is going to work for you. All right. All righty. So that's what we'll be covering for the rest of the year in this one. Two promises I always like to make when I teach these classes. First of all, you're going to learn something you can implement right now. You can take what I'm going to teach you tonight and you can put it into practice tonight. You can put a straw man out there tonight and have speakers and signups for your first virtual summit tonight. Or if you have been doing them and they haven't been very successful, you can put something out there, a straw man out there tonight, and get signups for your very first profitable, very first goal achieving, very first successful virtual summit. Now, there's a reason I use those words carefully, and I'll explain that on a future slide. But I'm going to give you something today that you can work with, you can run, you can take it to the bank, y'all. And I'm also going to give you an opportunity to dig deeper. Now, a lot of times those opportunities to dig deeper, they are things that are established. You can go out on the website and buy it, and I'm going to give you a discount because I don't have to sell you in it. You've already been here with me for 30 minutes or so. But this is a new content. This is the first time I'm offering this to the public. And so I'm not publicizing the beta class. The beta class is by invitation only. How do you get your invitation? Well, I'll tell you at the end. All right. Woo-hoo, I'm so excited, y'all. This is going to be so fun. All right. So here's the thing. Every time you go somewhere and somebody says, oh, I want to show you how to have a profitable virtual summit, have a virtual summit, take my class on how to do a virtual summit. One of the first things that they never talk about that you have to do in order to be successful is you have to determine what it is you want to do. Why are you wanting to have this virtual summit? See, a lot of times we think, oh, well, I want to make money with a virtual summit, but it's not always about money. Yes, generating revenue is super important, especially if you want to be a full-time entrepreneur. You need that revenue. And having a virtual summit is a fantastic way to generate revenue. And those sales are a fantastic way to generate mailbox money. You know, overnight money. You wake up and find notification to payment received because somebody done bought the recordings to your virtual summit. Fantastic goal, but it's not the only goal. And one of the reasons that people are unsuccessful with virtual summits is because they're not clear on what the goal is, and they focus so much on the money that they miss out on the other opportunities. So let's talk real briefly about the other goals you might have with a virtual summit. All right. One of the other goals that we might have with a virtual summit is exposure or list building. One multimillionaire that I know who hosts virtual summits hosts them at a very, very, very low cost, barely charging the speakers enough to host the platform, and not charging attendees anything, barely charging them what it takes to host the recordings if they want to buy the recordings. And when I asked him why he had that model when the rest of us have a much higher price point, he said to me very clearly, my platform draws my audience. I primarily sell to speakers, trainers, and coaches. And by offering this valuable summit at a super low price point, I'm able to bring in the customers. And I was like, that's brilliant. Now, my particular business isn't necessarily geared towards speakers. Everybody can use some financial empowerment, but I don't have a speaker specific business, so I don't follow the model. But in his business, for him, he's in it. He's not in it for the short money. He's in it for the long money. And so he gets everybody in there, and then they see what a great process he offers, and then he helps them duplicate the process. All right, all right. So yes, 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 we want to understand why it is we want to do a summit. Now here's the thing, there is nothing wrong with wanting to be profitable. We're going to talk about how to be profitable in just a second, okay? But I want to go through some of these other things because exposure or list building is huge. See, when your list is large enough, you can almost shake the trees anytime you need money. And in fact, I judge the quality of my business based on how easily I can generate money with my list. When I come up with a new idea or a new class or a new offering, how quickly can I fill the beta test? How quickly does what I offer resonate? How big of a list do I need to have to create the income I want to have? Okay. And so list building is huge. And sometimes list building might come at the expense of revenue building. Okay. But here's a big problem. A lot of times we're chasing after revenue, but we're taking actions to list build. That's why it's so important to understand our why. Another reason we might want to host a virtual summit aside from revenue is to reach up to higher networks and build greater connections. Well, how on earth can that happen? Well, hang on just a second, y'all. Oh, never mind. Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate you. It's the little one. What other ways? Y'all forgive me. we're at the retreat, so my dinner's in the oven. It's the microwave timer. Oh. Yep. Okay. I was so ripping and running. It wasn't until I started getting dizzy that I said, "Ooh, my neurologist is gonna be so mad at me on the trip. I done ate corn. I done had sugar." Um, all right, hang on, y'all. Hang on just a second. Oh, you got it? Okay. Okay. I don't have all the things I wasn't supposed to have. And I intentionally did that, but I said, you know what, today I was going to get something else for dinner. And I said, you know what? It's enough. It was enough. Okay, let me get back to virtual summits. All right, all right. Some of you just clopped on. You're like, she is talking about food, and that has nothing to do with virtual summits. Actually, food at a virtual summit is a fantastic strategy. And we'll talk about that a little bit later if you want. Some strategies for success, but I'll drop that later. Higher networks and connections. How on earth can having a virtual summit give you higher networks and connections? Well, when you're inviting headliners in, even if you're paying those headliners, you are now getting access to those headliners and you're getting access to their audiences. And the act of being associated with the higher level individual, higher level speakers, higher level experts in your field, that also allows you to get access to their circles. Is the other one still going? The other timer still going?
I think so.
All right, y'all, hang on. I'm so sorry. I did not plan this very well. Y'all just hang on for just a second. Sorry, y'all. I'm sorry, y'all. You know what? I'm awesome, but I'm not perfect. Okay, so let me go back to that point. How can having a virtual summit give you higher networks and higher connections? Well, when you invite in headliners or when you invite in experts in your field, now what that allows you to do is get connected to their audiences. It allows you to get connected to their audiences as well as to their networks and their network of other experts. And so not only are you getting connected with them, but now you're being seen in those categories with them. You're being seen in the room with them. And that's elevating your network and it's elevating your access to their network. And so maybe today you're a speaker, you're a professional speaker, and you host an event and you want to be associated with higher level professional speakers. As a professional speaker, one of the things I learned from National Speaker Association, love my North Dallas chapter, whoop, whoop. One of the things I learned from National Speaker Association is that the best speaking engagements come from referrals from other speakers. So guess what? It behooves me to make sure that I am well connected to people who can send me business. Maybe you're not a professional speaker today. Maybe you are a photographer today. Why would you have a photography virtual summit? Well, maybe you want access to learn from an expert that you ordinarily couldn't afford their mentoring fees or couldn't afford their training fees. But by bringing them in for a virtual summit, bringing them in and maybe paying a fraction of the cost of what it would normally cost to work with them, now you're being able to get on their radar. You're being able to get access to someone you normally wouldn't be able to get access to. And that relationship strategically managed. Remember, we want to be genuine and strategic. Somebody drop that in the chat for me. We want to be genuine and strategic. We don't want to just be strategic. And it's good to be genuine, but it's good to be genuine with a purpose. People who are about their business are not offended at you being strategic as long as you're also being genuine. Because people who are about their business build genuine and strategic relationships. They don't have time to waste, so they understand that you are not wasting their time. All right? All right. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. I hope my sound is doing better. I know I turned it off when I was trying to get my food together. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, so that's another reason why you might host a virtual summit. Okay. Another reason to host a virtual summit, and it's actually quite fortuitous that everybody else has pretty much left the virtual rooms, and here in the Airbnb, it's just me and Peggy Edge. She is the LinkedIn queen. Actually, I don't know if that's what she calls herself. I call her that because she blew my mind today with there's 30 different areas of LinkedIn that you didn't even know about. I didn't even know about because I was like, I got my headliner, I got my picture, I got my cover photo, I'm good. And she's like, no, you're not. And so she's in here today. She's in here today, and she said one of the easiest ways to establish credibility is to post one-liners on LinkedIn over and over, today, tomorrow, the next day, the next day. Consistency. But what if you don't know what to post? Well, guess what? When you have a virtual summit, you're bringing in these speakers. Now you got a whole plethora of things to post about, because if you don't post about you, now you can post about the speakers. Instant credibility. You are borrowing the credibility of your speakers. So that's one way. You use it to establish your own credibility with your audience. But guess what else is a juicy tip, y'all? Juicy tip about having a virtual summit. This is the same with the podcast too. This is the same thing with the podcast. If y'all have been with me for a couple of years, you remember when we started out building wealth together. Oh my goodness, y'all, we're about to be in our 5th year. In November will be our 5th anniversary of the Building Wealth Together podcast. Ooh, I need to get back and being more consistent with it. Y'all remember when we started off? I think the first year and a half, it was pretty much just me talking all the time. Now people downloaded it, and I was glad they did. They bought my stuff, and I was glad they did. Advertisers sought me out from time to time, and I'm glad they did. But my business did not explode until I brought other people onto the podcast. Similarly with a virtual summit, when you have these speakers and guests, you're not only improving your credibility with your audience, but now you're getting exposed as a credible expert to their audience. Ooh, y'all, some of us, one of the reasons our businesses aren't growing isn't because we're not doing the right things. And it isn't because we're not walking in abundance. It's because we haven't yet established enough credibility with enough people to make it work. So let me talk through this for just a second, and we'll go back to the next 2 reasons why you might host a virtual summit. A lot of times when it comes to credibility, we start a business. And I'm not going to use the royal we today. I'm talking about me. I'm talking about me. I had 17 different businesses and I finally found one that stuck. All right. But in those 16 other businesses, guess what people around me were used to? They were used to me coming up with ideas. They were used to me being enterprising. They were used to me at the General Assembly selling something at the table this year, selling something else next year. I had a boutique this year. I was selling hats that year. I was selling kids' clothes this year. I was selling food that year. I was selling books this year. I was doing whatever it took to put money. Look, y'all, when you are $845,000 in debt, you don't care what it takes. You just gonna do what it takes. Unfortunately, the only thing consistent about all that hustle is that people saw me hustling hard. But what they didn't see was the kind of consistency that was going to allow them to trust me. And when you want people to pay you the big money, they got to trust you. They got to trust that you're going to show up when you say you're going to show up. That when you do show up, you're going to deliver the content they need you to deliver. That when you're done speaking with the audience, you're done coaching the executive, when you're done working with the youth, whatever it is, fill in the blank that you offer, they've got to trust that you are going to have the effect they are paying you to have. And that if they don't have the effect, if it doesn't have the effect they're paying you to have, that it's not your fault, it's theirs. And a lot of us, this is probably, I think, giving too much, not giving content away, but I'm talking about, like, you make $10 and you buy your nephew $20. Take the $10 you made and put $10 on a credit card to buy your nephew's eyeglasses, because they need glasses. Well, you know what? Tell your sister to get off her behind and go to work and get another job. Okay. you know, that's the number one thing. That's the number one thing that keeps my ladies from building wealth is our big hearts. And I don't ever want you to not have a big heart. Okay, that's not what I'm saying. But the number two thing that keeps a lot of us, and this is the men and women that come to me from making a real headway with the business, assuming your energy is right. Is somebody at the door? I know I'm not that loud. The only I might be, my little one is so loud. I said, "Oh," I said to my husband, I said, "Am I that loud?" He said, "Yes, you are." All these years I didn't know how loud I was, but he loved me anyway until my little one caught it. Anyway, the number, so assuming our energy is right and assuming we're doing the things, okay? I'm not talking about you roll out of bed and decide you're not going to work your business today. I'm not talking to that person right now, okay? You need to do the things. I'm not talking to the person who's walking in poverty and you're holding on to everything and you refuse to be open. I'm not talking to you right now. You need to learn how to be open. We had that discussion in the retreat this morning. But if you're doing that and you're doing the things, what the number two reason that we don't get more successful is we don't have a big enough mass of people who see us as credible experts. And so we think, okay, I've got my mom, I've got my sister, I got my brother, I got my besties, and they're going to be enough to get the business going. And they're not. In fact, when it comes to some of these things that we're doing, I've talked to some people who are super happy if they go to a conference and they have a 30 to 40% close rate. And these are people who've been doing it for 20 years. Okay. So when you're just getting started out, your close rate is probably not going to be 30 to 40% when you're selling your high ticket item. Right. So if it's not going to be 30 to 40%, well, maybe it's closer to 5 or 10%. So if I want to make, let's just walk the math. And I don't have my notebook with me. Y'all know I like to draw with my Sharpie, but I didn't bring one with me today. Let's just do some easy math. So we're gonna make it easy. I know you need more than $1,000 a month. Okay, I know you do. You probably want about $3,000 to $5,000 just to give yourself some breathing room at the end of the month, right? But just to make the numbers easy, math in public. I haven't eaten yet. Let's just do $1,000. You need $1,000 coming in extra every month. Well, in order to get $1,000, you got to sell how many things at $100? You got to sell 10 things at $100. Okay. And that's before expenses. So, you may have to pad a little bit for expenses. Now, if you're just talking and your internet's free or it's already paid for, for some other way, then there's no cost there. You're just talking, right? But if you have expenses, you got to back that out. We're going to assume for this purposes, you're selling coaching services or you're selling some kind of workshop or something that you don't have to pay to deliver. Okay. So in order to make $1,000 extra a month, I got to have 10 people pay me $100. Or I got to have 20 people pay me $50. Okay. You see where I'm going with this? Or I got to have 100 people pay me $10. See how we do that? See that? So you gotta back that math out. Well, if I need 10 people to pay me $100 to make my $1,000 goal this month, and I'm only selling every time I do a Facebook post, I maybe sell one here this week, and then 2 weeks go by and I don't make a sale. Maybe I sell another one. Maybe I'm only selling two a month. Well, in order for me to get my $1,000 goal, I have to increase the number of eyeballs that see my stuff. So if I have a 1% close rate, that means for every 100 people that actually watch the video, and you and I both know, very few people watch the whole video, right? But for everybody that's invested enough to watch the video, let's say I'm only closing 1%. That means in order to make my $1,000 a month selling my 10 products, okay, for each one of those that sell at 100, I gotta get another 100 people watching that. So now you can begin to see the numbers. And now you can see why virtual summits can help increase your credibility. See, some of us don't have enough credibility yet to make that sale. So maybe we are only at the place where people are buying $10 from us. I remember when John Maxwell, wait a second, let me not say it like that. I didn't come in as a founding member. I was an early member, but I wasn't a founding member. But Paul Martinelli, who was the original president of the John Maxwell team, told this story enough. I remember like the back of my hand. When John Maxwell wanted to start his John Maxwell certification, he turned to different people. And one of the reasons he picked Paul is Paul was willing to pull the $400,000 out of his own pocket and front that cash to start the company. And so John thought he was going to have this, couple $1,000 certification right off the bat, a couple, 10, 20,000, 10, 20,000, 10,000, kind of like Zig Ziglar and who's the other one? Bob Proctor, high up their fees. And what Paul told him was, look, people's exposure to you is a $20 book on leadership that they bought in the airport. You're not going to get to a $20,000 price point when people's exposure to you is only a $20 book. So they set the price low and gradually they raise the price higher. It's still not at the price where the others are, but it's making plenty. Look, it's making plenty of money for them. All right. And so we want to understand that there's a give and take. Okay. And so we have to understand our goals. Well, if you're not selling, it could be in any number of things. You could be like me and just need to learn how to sell. like I recently took a sales class and I was really surprised at the things that they taught us, because for me, the things that they were teaching us are the kinds of things that would turn me off from buying from somebody. And they were like, well, do you want to be wealthy or do you want to be right? And I was like, well, if I'm going to spend my time, I want to make some money. So I had to learn that, right? So we have to understand our goals, and we have to know that establishing credibility is absolutely a great goal to have if you don't already have the pool to sell the things you want to sell, to get the people to buy your products and your services, establishing a greater level of credibility so that you access a greater number of eyeballs on what you're selling, a greater number of people to see and know, like, trust, and love you. Okay. All right. Another reason for having a virtual summit, quite frankly, is to help change lives. I mean, that's when we started the Healing My Sisters virtual summit, which was the precursor to this retreat. So we started the summit and there was a follow-on reconnection retreat. That's what this retreat evolved from. The whole reason I started that is because of that car accident that ended my military career. It hadn't ended my career yet, but the writing was on the wall and I was struggling, y'all. I didn't understand how the Lord could have put me in these positions and places to make the rank that I thought I was going to make. And now this happens, and my family is at risk, and my marriage is at risk, and my cognitive ability is at risk, and everything in my life is falling apart around me. My coworkers are treating me like the scapegoat for everything because I couldn't medically, I just couldn't fight back, so they took advantage of the situation. And so it was just a horrible, horrible situation. And I actually started the summit, didn't charge anybody. We had like maybe 30 speakers. I didn't charge anybody. I just got in people. I was like, if you've overcome some kind of trauma, I need you to come in and speak. And what I didn't tell them, and I kind of wish I didn't tell them until after they got into it, is that the whole reason I needed them to speak is because I needed somebody to pour into my life and let me know that I was going to be okay. I needed somebody to come into my life and let me know that this was not the end of my road. That because the Lord spared my life, and maybe I didn't have the ability to do the things that I used to could do, but because the Lord spared my life, he still had something for me. I needed people to come in and pour into me and change my life. And a wonderful thing happened. We put together that first Healing My Sister's book, and we raised thousands of dollars for survivors of domestic violence. In fact, some of those speakers in that first one are on here today, like Darla's story. Oh, that's not the one I wanted to click. Darla's story is phenomenal. And so, we just had so many people that just came together. They poured into me, but they poured into so many others, people all over the world. That book is my first bestseller, is my dating book. My second bestseller is Healing My Sisters, and 100% of the proceeds goes to survivors of domestic violence. All right, all right. I'm so glad that you're on today. Hey, I'm so glad that you're on. Virtual summits is excellent for a realtor. All right, all right, all right. So now, changing lives is not always inconsistent with revenue or networking or credibility or any of those things, okay? But if our focus is to change lives, then it changes the way that we do this. And I'll talk a little bit more on that on the next slide, okay? Because if we're trying to, oops, you can't see that because you're on me. Hold on. There we go. There we go. Okay, so when you're making a decision of what it is you want to do with your virtual summit, that's going to determine your path. Okay, it's going to determine your path, because a lot of times we don't realize that the pathway for one goal is different from the pathway for another goal. That's why when you have a good videographer for your event, if you're doing a live event, or if you have a good PR person for your event, if you've got a good you're getting PR for an event, anybody who's in that kind of space where they are helping you execute your business and get more people into your summit, they should be asking you what's the goal. They should be asking you what the goals are, so that they can help you craft and customize a strategy that's going to represent your goal. Now, look, I don't have at my command the liberty tonight to talk about all 5 of these areas, okay? So I'm going to talk about 2 areas, okay? And I'm not even going to go into the kind of detail my heart would love to give you on that, because again, we're at the retreat. I'm at the Airbnb. We got to go do the fire thing that we couldn't do earlier because of the thunderstorms. And so I just don't have at my command that time. I promise, if this is really speaking to you, I'm going to give you an opportunity to reach out to me directly, and I'm going to make sure that you get what you need to get. All right. So let's just kind of look at the first area. We're going to look at pricing. Okay, so let me put the slide back on. Okay, this is a generic. All my scientists in the room are going to hate this slide. There's no axes labeled. It's just a graph. Now, if you've ever published a book on Kindle, you're going to recognize this graph, because Kindle Direct Publishing gives you this graph when you're setting the pricing for your book. Basically, what this graph is an example of the revenue versus price balance, okay? And it's different for every project, and it's different for every type of offering that you have, okay? And I don't know what it is for you. You'll have to figure it out by trial and error, or by talking to someone who's in your field. But basically what this chart represents is, when you start off with the virtual summit or any other thing that you are offering, okay? So this applies to any business. I'm giving you some gold here. I hope you are taking some notes. If you're not taking some notes, I'm going to give you a second. I'm going to give you a second to go ahead and get you a piece of paper to take some notes on this. I'm just going to give you a second. Okay, that's enough. This is going to help you. This is going to help you in your business. When you're selling anything in your business, if you don't charge anybody, you make zero money. So that's the point down here, 0, 0. You make nothing. And then as you begin to charge for your business, generally speaking, you're going to make some money. Now, honestly, I probably should have drawn this chart to start. I should have drawn it to shift over here a little bit. You know what? Y'all give me a second. I'm gonna fix that. Look, I'm gonna fix it because I'm a scientist by nature and I don't like things to be incorrect. Hold on. I'm gonna slide that on over. It's not gonna be beautiful, but it's gonna tell the story. All right. That's another lesson. Look, I'm dropping all kinds of gold today. Because let me go back to this slide so I can put that in the other one. I'm dropping all kinds of gold today because a lot of times we don't get anywhere in business because we're so busy trying to be perfect. We're trying to be so perfect. We're trying to make sure everything's just right. And by time we get it just right, somebody else has come in with their half-done solution and they've already secured the marketplace. And then we're all upset because we know we could do better than them. We know we could do better than them, but we're not doing better than them because while we were trying to make everything perfect, they done come in and stole the hearts and minds of the people we trying to serve. And that is extra harder for us. Okay. So what I've done, if you're just joining us, you won't know, but if you saw the other chart started at 0. And what I did was I scooted the line over a little bit. Does anybody want to drop in the chat? Do you know why I scooted the line over a little bit? So that when you first put a price on something, you may not make a profit. Because somebody drop in the chat. I want to know what y'all think. I want to know what y'all think. And while you're doing it, I'm going to take a look at this chat. Oh, y'all are making me feel so good. Y'all making me feel so good here. Aw, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This is awesome. Y'all are making me so happy today. I want y'all to apply this. I want you to be successful. I want you to have everything the Lord has designed for you to have and have all the impact. Sometimes the impact we have corresponds to how much abundance we're walking in. And so it's not that you can't have impact when you're not walking in wealth and abundance, but sometimes the doors that open up because you have the money to open them. All right. All right. So the reason that I shifted the graph is because sometimes you sell one product. If you're doing t-shirts, okay, you got a t-shirt business, you're selling t-shirts and you do lives every day to show people the new shirts. Well, you sell one t-shirt, you still got to order 6 from the supplier, right? Yes, okay, yes ma'am, yes ma'am, yes ma'am. So you still in the hole. And I could have drawn it negative, but see, if you're in a business like mine, all of my stuff pretty much doesn't cost me anything to deliver. It cost me in the beginning because I had to have people help me design stuff. And until I got an idea of what people really wanted from me, I needed somebody to help me design the workbooks and help me design this. And I paid people to do some of that stuff because I thought I was good at it. And I found out I wasn't. I wasn't as good as they were for the money they were charging, for the little money on Fiverr or Upwork, And so when you first start out, depending on your business or service, you may not make any money. So let's talk about how this works in the context of a virtual summit. You sell one ticket to your virtual summit and you decided to do it on Hopin because you took some class on the internet and they said you got to go big or go home. Wait. I gotta go big here. Let me go big here. All right. You took a class. You took a class, right? And it was a free class on YouTube. And they said, if you want to make lots of money with the virtual summit, you got to go big or go home. Hop in, get this platform, get that platform. And the minimum you got to pay to get those platforms is $1,000. What they didn't tell you is they get an affiliate fee off of you signing up for that. So they don't really care that you didn't make any money because you only sold one ticket. You sold one ticket for $25 and then you had to pay $1,000 for the platform. Now, if you're like me and you look at that and you say, okay, you know what, this is $1,000 and I'm on a $99 payment plan, I'm gonna cut that off real quick. And I'm only going to be out $75. But a lot of us don't do that because you know why we don't do that? Because we went to another seminar and the seminar people said, well, if you don't believe in you, nobody else will. And if you don't gamble on you, nobody else, you'll never win. Take a chance on you. Put it all on the table. Bet on you. Oh, I know y'all heard this because I've heard it. And I've lost money because I wasn't doing things I wasn't looking at my goal. If my goal is to make money, I'm not going to spend $1,000 if I haven't sold $1,000. So you'll notice now, very rarely will I tell you what platform we're on unless I already know it's Zoom, which is, I get that through my National Speaker Association. I get the super amazing account for like very little money. So if you ever wonder, Should I join? Should I join the speaker? The speaker. If you're a professional speaker, I'm telling you, you need to be in. You need to be in that. You need to be in. You need to. In fact, y'all, they opened it up to everybody. You can join my chapter. I don't get paid if you do, but it sure would be nice if you told them I sent you. Even though I don't get anything out of it, I love street cred. Okay. Anyway, plugs aside. Plugs aside. That's why a lot of us we start off with because we bought all the things. We bought all the things and we went, and what's the other one? One of them's Hop In. What's the other one? There's another one that was really popular for a while and everybody was doing it because it was the thing. And I like Hop In. They do Women in Cloud on Hop In and they do a couple other, no. Women in Cloud is on Remo. It's really nice. Whatever platform they use for Women in Cloud is fabulous. It's absolutely fabulous. John Maxwell uses Hop In. And there's another platform for Black physicists that they use when they do their national conventions and their mentoring sessions that's really fabulous as well. It was designed by some students, and it actually, you walk around the conference floor like you're in the conference. And when you get close to people, you can hear their conversation. And when you walk away from people, you no longer hear it. It's just like being in a real conference. It's fabulous, right? So there's all kinds of great products. But if you don't have any money, you don't have any income coming in, you're going to figure out how to work your virtual summit with a 40-minute free account on Zoom. And you know how you can do that? We'll talk about that when we do the Dig Deeper class, okay? We'll talk about some workarounds for some of these things that people can't seem to do for free anymore, okay? So we talk about that. I'm going to show you how to do it because I believe that there's always a way, and I want you to have a way. All right. Oops. No. I don't want to remove it. I want to show it. There we go. Woo. Did that one work out?
Yeah, I think so.
Woo! All right. It smells so good.
Yeah,
So maybe depending on what you're doing, the first couple may not make any money, but finally you get to a point where you're making money. You get to a point where you're making money, and if you keep increasing your price, you're gonna keep making more money. But you get to this point, and this point, this cusp, this peak, whatever you want to call it, I forget the technical term. There is actually a technical economic term for this point. This is the point where your market demand and your market supply balance out. And this is the point where the most people will pay for you to make the most money. And then if you keep going along and you charge more, you will charge more. People will pay more per person, but you'll have so many less people that you won't make more money. Is that making sense today? Is that making sense today? If that's making sense, put yes in the chat for me so I know that this is making sense. So what it's saying is you can raise your prices, and you'll make more money overall. You might lose a few people over here, you might lose a few people over there, but you're going to make some more money. But you get to a point, you get to that cusp point, you get to that peak point where at some point people say, you know what? Not enough people want to pay. So you might make more per person, but you're not going to make as much total. So now, let me ask you this. Let me drop this question on you. Given what I showed you on the last slide, is there ever a time where we would want to price our virtual summit way out here in the end? Because I could make more money if I got more people in there who are willing to pay this other price. Why on earth would I ever want to price my summit way out here? Let's think about that. Okay. Well, let me go back to my slide that shows the different reasons. Okay. Because oops, y'all can't see that. Boop, there we go. Because it's not always about making money. And sometimes, maybe to reach a different audience. If you're trying to elevate your connections, if you're trying to get the kind of people in your summit that are going to pay the $10,000 high value offers that you're giving. If you want to get the kind of people in the room, you may not make as much money on this virtual summit, but you know that you'll make more money on the follow-on products that you sell, then you may still want to do that. But again, this is why it's important to understand your goal, because if my goal is to make the absolute most money I can, that I'm not pricing my summit way out here. I'm pricing it at the peak point. And I may not know the peak point. I might have to play with it from year to year, from summit to summit, or I might have to flight follow somebody else or pay them to mentor me, and figure out what the price point are. And you can look around what everybody's doing and you can kind of gauge what prices they're offering things at, but you have to decide what's your goal. If your goal is to increase exposure, then maybe you don't price it to make the most money, because you might make the most money, but you may not get the most people in there. If you want to get the most exposure, you want to get the most eyeballs on what you're talking about, maybe you price it lower and get more people in the room, in the Zoom room. Okay. And so the same thing for if we're trying to change lives, credibility, connections, each one of these has their different aspects of the summit that we have to understand before we ever sell a ticket, before we ever bring in speakers. We have to understand what it is that we're doing and what it is we want to accomplish with this here. Okay. And so I did tell you all that I was going to offer you an opportunity to learn something that you could implement today. And I hope I've done that. And that I was going to give you an opportunity to dig deeper. Now, I am going to give you an opportunity to dig deeper. In a few minutes, I'm going to put my text number up on the screen, and you can text me and I'm in to let me know you're interested in the beta class where we go into details on all these other ones. Okay. This is the first time I'm doing it. You know what they say, you're never good the first time, but you got to start to be good, right? What is it? That's not how you're never great the first time, but you have to have a first time to get great. I think that's how it goes. But basically, we're going to go through it, and there may be some stumbling and some fumbling, but you're going to get a lot of value, and I'm going to get some learning, and you're going to give me some feedback, and we're going to make it better for the next group. And the good news about it is you're not going to pay what they're going to pay for it. So it's a win-win. I love the win-win-win, right? And so before I do that, though, what I want to do real quick is I want to talk about some things to watch out for. And this is one of the biggest things that really chaps my hide. I've participated in a lot of virtual summits that were somebody's first virtual summit. And many professional speakers refuse to do that because they don't want to waste their time. I personally find that I get a lot of financial planning clients out of these summits because people who are planning it the first time, a lot of times don't know what they're doing, or they assemble together speakers that don't really know, they haven't advanced far enough to see the signs that this person who's putting it together doesn't know what they're doing. Okay. But almost universally, y'all, and it just kills me because then I don't want to work with the planners because I feel like you're being dishonest. Almost universally, somebody holds one summit that did not make them any money. And do you know what they do? They turn around and launch their class, How to Make Big Money with the Summit. The only person making big money with the summit is them teaching you how to do it. And it kills me. And I've watched them. There's others that are big name people out there, and they'll talk about, I'm going to show you how to have a summit. All they're doing is building their mailing list. There's another one out there who says, I want, come speak. This is the one that bothers me too. Come speak at my summit on how to have summits. Come bring something to my summit to how to have summits. All they're doing is building their mailing list. They never actually let you speak at their summit. Not even pay to play. And so I'm not naming names because I don't want to get sued, but I just want you to watch out for these things. When somebody's telling you that they're going to help you, make sure they know what they're doing. Now, that doesn't mean that somebody can't help you run a summit that's never run it before, but they're not going to come to you from the perspective of, I'm going to show you how to do a summit like I did. They might be a business coach for you. They might be a life coach for you. They might be a strategy coach for you. That's different. And I want you not to waste your money and your time, because I'm telling you right now, you can get out there with your heart and your expertise, and you can make some money, and you can grow your impact, and you can increase your credibility, and you can up level the networks that you play in, and you can change lives with a virtual summit. You absolutely can. Okay. So what am I going to ask you to do today? Let me go ahead and skip over some of these things here. What you can do today, I'm going to give you a very special invitation to join me as a VIP in a very special beta training, a very special pre-launch special. That's a lot of specials in one word, in one sentence. But all you've got to do is text I'm in to 254-454-HOPE. That goes directly to my cell phone, which is not with me right now. So you're not going to get an autoresponder. It's not going to reply back, hey, it's JJ. I mean, it might say something about, do you want to have messages from JJ Conway or something like that, because I give my number out freely. Like, I got to make sure you're a human, right? I got to make sure you're a human. But it's not going to, when I get back to my phone, I will be able to respond to you and let you know what the next steps are going to be. And quite frankly, the next steps are going to be based on how many people text me I'm in. If I get 2 people that text I'm in, it's going to be a different class than if I get 20 people that text me I'm in. So if you know that you want in on this thing, make sure you act quickly, because I'm only going to limit it to a certain number of people for this beta test. And I'm going to help you walk through your actual virtual summit. I'll even be one of your headliners if you like, or one of your keynote speakers if you like, and we will walk through the process together. And we'll make sure that you get it done, that it's tight and that it's right and that it accomplishes your goals. But because I'm giving this time, and because I'm giving you something that ultimately is going to be priced a good $5,000 to $7,000 for me to walk with somebody in their virtual summit, I am not accepting everybody. I'm only accepting action takers who are actually going to do what they say they're going to do. And right now, what I need you to do is text I'm in to 254-454-HOPE. All right, y'all. That's the end of our session today. I really appreciate y'all being on the line. I love all y'all. Y'all have really y'all really blessed my soul with the comments today. And I can't wait to go back and read the rest of them, the ones that I might have missed. But look, if you are interested, don't forget to text me. And regardless, I hope you will be back next Thursday. We will be broadcasting live from Chicago with the Juneteenth Legacy Conference. You can still get your tickets to be in the room or in the Zoom, juneteenthlegacy.com. Dr. Boyce Watkins, Dr. Cheryl Wood, Synethia. We got Z, the SEO queen. We got Rosalind Henderson. You've seen her on Fly Nubian Queen. We've got Johnny Lynham, the military CEO. Y'all, we have got Kareem Ellis, the doctor himself, talking about how to GPS your way to a better life. We got Mama Wetzel. And I mean, y'all, if y'all have never heard Mama Soul Wisdom, you need to be in the room. JuneteenthLegacy.com. All right, y'all. That's all I've got for you today. Thanks, sis. If y'all have any questions at all, go ahead and reach out to me. Let me put that slide up one more time. You can text me at 254-454-HOPE. Do not expect a response right now. It's not a high pressure sales. I'm not trying to trick you. This is real. This is really my phone. All right. So it took me a long time to get that number. All right. Y'all take care and be blessed. And I will catch y'all next week. Bye for now.